This is the COTREX web app, for those of you not familiar with it. And we're looking at Forest Service Road 100, otherwise known as White Pine Lookout Road. The first issue here is that the trail doesn't even show up, other than its labels show up. But if you click on it, then the trail shows up and you get the normal info box over here at the left. So there's something wrong, not necessarily with the data per se, but with the COTREX web app itself. And also note that there's no indication here that this trail or this area is closed to the public, or it does say seasonally, but like once the season starts that it will be closed. The next issue is, and now we're back in the GIS here, the issue is that the trail is considerably misaligned. And this is the COTREX here. I'm going to turn off that imagery, so that's just COTREX there in gray. I've highlighted in red, overlaid on the OpenStreetMap tiles. You can see there's a discrepancy about 230 feet, excuse me. And there's not a lot of Strava heat, if any. There's a little wiggle down there in the lower left-hand corner. There are some GPS traces in OpenStreetMap. You can see there kind of an alternating light and dark blue. But let's turn on imagery from Larimer County from 2021. You can clearly see where this road or trail goes. So, I mean, it's possible that the Forest Service has rerouted it, but I visited this area in June of 2020, and I don't think it certainly wasn't rerouted at that time, and I suspect it hasn't been rerouted. Oh, and instantly, that's the COTREX data. That's the Forest Service data that they share almost exactly, if not exactly, the same alignment. So the other thing about this is that this trail is severely damaged. I mean, you really can't even call it a trail anymore. And I'm going to show you now a photo that I took when I hiked this area in June of 2020. That's the good part of the trail. I mean, literally, there's sometimes that the trail is so washed out that you can walk upright under the deadfall. The trees have fallen across the trail, but the trail is washed out 6 feet deep. I'm going to play you a clip now. So you see a little video clip that I shot while I was hiking there. The trail is severely washed out, to say the least. And the other issue, even without the washout, once you get up into the saddle, let me turn off the imagery here. As you continue north here, eventually you get to a saddle here. I mean, this is so indistinct that it's almost impossible to find. I had to backtrack a bit. I guess this is it. This is very indistinct, almost imperceptible. There's a Karen. It's kind of creepy with the all the dead trees and the high wind. Once you do get here, it's not as washed out, but because it gets so little use, there's pine, juvenile pine trees. Is that a term? Knee high, waist high, and there's no way you'd get a vehicle through there. And the Forest Service data does say that this is open to all motor vehicles. And I would say that even prior to the flood, when presumably it got washed out, I would say that anything other than a motorcycle, an off-road motorcycle, would have a great deal of difficulty on this trail. I'd say even without the new growth along this part, you would have a difficult time with a vehicle. Just select that layer. You'd call this identify in a standard GIS. If I just selected it, you can see that it's like almost all, actually it's a roads open to all vehicles, seasonal. Now maybe legal, you'd never get through there with any vehicle now. I mean, it's tough on foot. It's probably impossible on horseback. Certainly anything else is going to be out of the question. It does say not maintained for passenger car, which is almost kind of, that's such an understatement. In case there's any question about the alignment of the road, this is the USGS 3D elevation program data, or a hillshade thereof, and you can clearly see where the road goes there, and there's continues to be discrepancy before the alignment comes back together here, going north, small difference there, but then when you get actual on the side of the mountain, there's also considerable misalignment here between the 3D elevation data and the data from both COTREX and the Forest Service. And here at the summit, you can see that as well.